that it's not our first life that we are here in the material world. Explained that the living entity has innumerable births in the material world, and in all those births, then the activities of sense, one has engaged in activities of sense gratification, and have developed this this hard knot in the heart, from millions and countless lives. So that's why it's become strong, because it's not just something we've done a little bit. We just sniffed at or done just a little tiny bit. No, it's something we've done over many lives, and simply got them intoxicated and completely, addicted and immersed in this activity of sense gratification. So therefore, that's why we may understand and explains the force of Cupid is very strong, because it is something we've been in contact with for a very long time. So to break it, it's not easy. So therefore, if you look at the purport, there's one very important word here in the purport, and that says patience. That because of this, lust in our heart is so strong, it's so much entrenched. Is one English word, is very set. Therefore, one also has to have patience, because it may be that we may not be able to perfectly control our lusty desires. Like that, our mind, sometimes we may lose actually a little bit control of our mind, and it may take us for a ride, and we may suffer quite a bit, even though we don't engage in sense gratification. But within our mind, there may go on so many nasty things like that. And for many, that can be quite discouraging. This mind is such a nasty thing. You may become, quite disillusioned by. Even though I've been practicing devotional service for many years now, still within my mind these things can come up. So actually, this very word here, it may help us that even though so many years we still see this, that it requires patience. That these things, they may come up, even for a devotee who has been practicing sincerely and seriously, even for years. These things, they may come up. So, therefore, we should take this helpfulness word, patience, and that's actually one of the 6 favorable items, isn't it? That Rupa Goswami says. It's utsaha, is enthusiasm, and it's what's the word for patience? Somebody can remember? Huh? Nishcha? You sure?
I've also heard that in connection with that shloka, but I don't know if
because
it's exact.
Patience is actually one of the 6 favorable items that Rupa Goswami, he mentions that in order actually to become to make advancement, there are 6 favorable items, and that patience is actually one of the items he mentions. So actually we should, in that sense, be a little bit patient with ourselves, and not to totally lose it, not to totally lose hope, if our mind gets sometimes overwhelmed with thoughts which you're not supposed to have. In that condition, we should simply remember that actually this is because we have been engaged in this business of sense gratification for so many countless of lives, that the mind, it's stored within it. All these ideas, it's simply a big reservoir of these things. And we don't go and take a dip in that reservoir, but because it's still there, things come up to the surface like that, and we should see it. Well, this is just like Prabhupada said, it's just like an electrical fan. If you pull out the plug, still the fan is running. But because you pull out the plug, there's no power being supplied to the fan. And then, because there's no power, then the blades of the fan, eventually they will stop. But in the beginning, you may pull the plug, you may make the decision, I'm not going to cultivate sense gratification, I'm not going to spend my energy endeavoring for sense gratification anymore, I had enough of this. So you pull the plug and engage yourself in devotional service, but still the fan is going on. The blades are moving because the power of the, what's this force called? Centrifugal force? Momentum. The momentum is there. And because the momentum is there, the blades are going on. But it will stop because there's no power being supplied. So in the same way, we may sometimes, even though we've decided to change our lives, to revolutionize our lives, to become Krishna conscious, we made a conscious decision that we want to try to become fully Krishna conscious, and even though that is there, still things which we don't want will come up in our mind. So that we should tell ourselves by intellect, say, well, that's because the fan is still going because of the momentum. We have sincerely taken shelter, and we're sincerely endeavoring to control our mind and to surrender to the orders of Krishna, surrender to Guru and Krishna. So therefore, this is something that's just a momentum, and we will simply have to have some patience for this to completely stop. So we have to tolerate our mind. And it says that tolerance is a very important factor in devotional service, that Trinada peace, Unitina, Taror apiece, that Taror apiece ahismana, to be more tolerant than a tree, doesn't only apply to what other living entities may do to us, it also applies to what may go on in our mind, to what our mind may do to us. So one has to be tolerant in that sense, and patient. That it may take some time before you're fully freed from that, from your the sinful thoughts or negative thoughts, thoughts of sanskrit that you don't want in your mind, that it may take some time before you're completely free from that. But you shouldn't become despondent. Just one thing we take from this today's verse, that when we see these things, that we don't contemplate on it. We don't meditate on it. We see that we don't want to suffer under these things anymore. Like, don't pay attention, neglect it. And if we can, think it is a thing of the past, that it is something that we simply have to tolerate in order to get completely rid of it, engage ourselves with full conviction and full determination in our devotional service, then eventually they will stop, and we will not be bothered, we will not be troubled by these desires, anymore. It simply takes some time. And if we can really take that to heart, and endeavor strongly in that regard, we will actually see success. We will actually see that the mind becomes less, it becomes less affected by these things. And the more we can get a taste for the devotional service and get a real desire to intensify our devotional service, then we will see the end of it. Then we will start to see the end of our victimization of our material desires, because that's actually what's going on. We're being victimized by material desires, and we're being hurt by that, we're suffering under that. So we don't want to suffer under the pangs of our material desires. We want to actually see the end of them. And that will come if simply we apply this important element of patience in our devotional practice. So I think I would do well to also touch upon the last point of the purport of this 62nd verse. And Prabhupada, he says that because of the force of materialistic life, to maintain self-control is extremely difficult unless one is specifically under the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service. So Prabhupada, he concludes that without the direct help of Krishna, it is actually not possible to control these material desires. If Krishna doesn't help, if Krishna doesn't lend himself to us, he doesn't give his association, he doesn't give his mercy to us, then we don't stand a chance. No. And that means that if we endeavor in some other way, if we artificially try to control our senses, simply by negation, okay, not this, like the Mayavadis, they say neti neti, okay, we don't want materialistic desires, so not this, but then what? What positive? So if we don't as Krishna says, Maya eva mana adasva, fix your mind upon me. When these things come, if we don't fix our minds on Krishna, but still just say, no, not this, Maya, 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 then it's not possible to control it. So that's the concluding instruction. That is, when it happens, then one has to remember this. Maya eva mana adasva. If we immediately when we think of Krishna, then our problems go away. Then Maya goes away. But Maya will not go away by shouting at Maya, 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 Maya. That's not the process of chasing away Maya. The process of chasing away Maya is to say Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And to think of Krishna in his name, form, qualities and pastimes. And this we can actually experience when we simply engage in the process of devotion. So when we chant the holy name together in Sankirtan, here at the temple or out on the streets, distributing prasadam, when we engage in book distribution and really, you can say, do it sincerely and prayerfully, and when we sincerely study Srila Prabhupada's books like that, we can feel that Maya is not there. Why? Because Krishna is there. We're fixing our minds on Krishna. Then Maya cannot be there. She cannot stand in front of Krishna. So therefore, the conclusion is always that it's not possible to control one's material desires simply by one's own strength. One has to take protection of Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service, and then it will be possible. So for an intelligent person, he will simply ask the one question: how can I arrange it so that my devotional service becomes uninterrupted and unmotivated? That what's this verse? That supreme occupation for man is that by which one can render unmotivated or can render loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. In order to satisfy, completely satisfy the heart, that service has to be uninterrupted and unmotivated. No, this is a verse from the Bhagavatam. No, this comes. I think it comes after that. Paro dharmo yato bhaktir adukshaja. I can't remember the first line. Yato bhaktir adukshaja ahai tuki apratihata yasyatma suprasidati. So one simply should ask oneself, how do I make my devotional service uninterrupted? Because if Krishna is always there, then there's no chance of Maya being there, Maya influencing, invading our consciousness. It's not possible if Krishna is always there. So the real question that one should ask oneself, and the real plan that one should make, real idea one should have, is how that one can always be in the association of Krishna, to always think of Krishna. And that's the only real 100% guarantee that one will be free from one's victimization of one's material desires. That's the only way. So in that way, it's actually up to us how far we go in developing a strong desire and a clear idea how we reach that point. And it's actually not enough to half-heartedly, just to put oneself in the process, half-heartedly, and just go with the flow. Actually, we have to come to the point where we come to desire, actually, to see the end result of the process. We have to be eager to get the result. And then, when you fully digested what you're doing, what it is you're trying to achieve here, and then you put your whole force into it, then you can start to make rapid advancement. So So that's actually what we want to follow, what Krishna says. That the process of sadhana bhakti, the one thing you really want to see there is the desire to attain Krishna. Because by that desire to attain Krishna, then you make a plan. Then you really get the determination of how you can achieve this uninterrupted and unmotivated devotional service. So that's what we really like to see develop within us, this intense desire to get to that point, and that will guarantee success and nothing else. So thank you very much for your kind attention. So I'd like to ask you, do you have some comments or questions you'd like to ask? So clear. Yes, Gabriel.
I was just thinking that this example with Arjuna, who fell a victim to his lust, in this example he's a perfect brahmachari, all up until he gets confronted with the sense objects. So I was thinking, for example, what we did yesterday when we all go out on the street and distribute, that's a very good practice, because you will get confronted by the sense objects, and then you have to work with that. And you get gradual experience that you actually, if you contemplate on the sense objects, then next time you will have a very, very hard time shining japa. And so you get very, very practical experience of how the philosophy works by actually being out in the field and testing yourself. He mentions it's like if you have a fever and you take the temperature, like you go out on the street, and you realize, oh my God, I'm lusty and I'm proud and I'm greedy and all this, and you might not get that experience if you don't preach.
So that's a fact that it's a very, Sankirtan is an opportunity actually to really increase one's spiritual strength. Because it's a demanding. It's you're confronted with you can say our limitations. It gets quite obvious. So one has to endeavor. So that's why it's extremely healthy, and it's very pleasing. It's very pleasing to the Lord, and we can understand that, because if you went out one day and did Sankirtan, and at the end of your day, then you ask yourself, was it a good day? And if you went out there and did Sankirtan very sincerely, you'll say, okay, it was a good day. I have two things in my life where I can say, if I go to bed at night, and if I ask myself, was it a good day? And there's two things which makes the day good, at least very clearly for me. So, is if I study Srila Prabhupada's books to the amount that I had, set a goal to do, if I fulfill my quota, you can say, of sincere study of Srila Prabhupada's books. And if I went out and distributed books, that's the two most powerful things I can say that determines whether it was a good day or not. And of course, there's many other things which play. Of course, if we go out together and chant, Harinam, distribute prasadam like that. So we want to have good days. We want all our days to be good days. And these are very two important elements. You need to study Srila Prabhupada's books very sincerely, distribute the books as in preaching, and then there's a good chance that you'll feel at the end of the day, well, this was actually a good day. So, yes, like that. So we want to be happy, We don't just want to be strict controllers of the senses and that, because what we really want is ananda. We want to be happy. And actually we find that these activities, if they are there, then we find, well, that's actually also how we get into the happiness. So that should also be the meditation. Like, we don't want to be controllers of the senses, just be controllers of the senses. We want the ananda in it, and that we'll find, if we simply try it out. And we have to also, whatever little capacity we have to engage that, and we not compare ourselves to others. Like, he may do so much, he may go out every day, and I can't do it. like that, or I'm so fallen, or like I'm useless, like that. They're doing so much, I'm doing so little. That's also not favorable. Because there's one saying that one should not, it's an interesting saying, it's all Indian saying, that one should not burn one's hut by looking at the other palaces. Meaning that you have your little hut, you're staying there, you're living there, you're cooking there, you're sleeping there, you're living peacefully there. But on the other side of the river there's a big palace. So if you just see that palace and you're envious of that big palace, you curse your own hut and you set fire to it. And then, you can't even take any advantage. You can't take advantage of your hut. You can't, what you did, it'll be useless. So in the same way, envy, if we see others, they're doing so much, and I'm not able to do. And if you curse your own situation, what happens is you can't engage whatever little capacity you have in that activity, in that service of the Lord. So that's very one important thing, that we all have different capacities of how to do this, how to distribute books, even how to study books, how to even chant, publicly. We may have so many different capacities there. So the thing is that whatever capacity we have, that we engage that and not look to the others. What they're doing more than us or less than us. What's the relevant thing is that we engage our capacity like that. And those who do much, they shouldn't curse those who do little. And those who do little, they shouldn't be envious of those who do much, those who do a lot, like that. And if we can simply just engage our capacity where we are, then that will be very favorable. So I think that's also one important thing that we may take. Yes?
I just have this friend in Japan, and she was out, she's still going out with groups, but she went out 20 years every day for 10 hours. And the first 4 years, she had so much fear of Sankirtan, of approaching people. And one day Kapishchanda Maharaj went out because he thought she had a desire. She was out 10 hours.
Yeah.
But she distributed only like 1-2 books the first 4 years. And then later she came to Mayapur and she prayed very much to Panchatattva. And then suddenly she started doing more and more, and now practically speaking she has been doing 100 books a day for many, many years. So like you're saying, the result and our capacity, and we come from so different backgrounds, like you were saying, there can be so many things that prevent us from surrendering completely or whatever. But as far as I can see, like she called me one time from Germany, and she was visiting Germany and she hardly doesn't speak English, but to speak of German. So she called me and said that today 11 books, very difficult, more praying Krishna, more praying Krishna. And then I heard from this other Sankirtan Mataji in the van that she didn't even want to take lunch that day or this week when she was out. She just wanted to try. So it's not the result, how many books we do or prasadam bags a day. It's just that we don't give up, that we simply stay there on the battlefield. But
Be determined, like she's determined. I think it's a good example of being determined. So thank you very much. Prabhupada ki jai. Jai.